So Bungie is patching out the armor that has the social justice gaming media up in arms. They're celebrating their victory now. It was an expected victory, of course. This happens all the time. It happened with Baldur's Gate. Of course, there's no use for the developers to succumb to the demands of these journalists or apologize because, as we all know, even after they get what they want, they're still angry. So for those of you who don't know, in the new Destiny 2 game by Bungie, there's a piece of armor that was leaked that has this symbol on it. Now this made some of the games journalists' heads explode because it's green and has some logos here that make it kind of look like a Kek symbol, and it kind of resembles the flag of Kekistan. And so they've been attacking the company and demanding that they remove this from the game. And Bungie seems to have just capitulated. They didn't put up any fight, they didn't try and defend their art or their game, they just immediately said, "Oh, we've offended someone, we're sorry, let's get this out of the game." As we can see here, Destiny 2 developer Bungie responded swiftly this week once it was notified of a piece of armor in the game featuring artwork resembling a logo associated with the white nationalist movement. Associated by these games journalists, very much on purpose. You see, it's the same thing that happened with Pepe and happens with all sorts of memes. We've even seen it happening with normal everyday objects like milk. They find some instance of some kind of white nationalist, Nazi, alt-right, or whatever they want to call it, using it in an offensive way, and they paint the entire meme or even an object as being associated with white nationalism, full stop. No one can use this meme or object anymore. Any use of it can be declared racist at any time. And they'll go on to claim that white nationalists are trolling them with the symbol. Which is funny because that's exactly the point of doing this. Most people using these memes are not white nationalists, they're just regular people using the internet that want to get a laugh out of these people, and they know that these verified journalists and these gaming journalists and these social justice warriors assume anyone they don't like to be a white nationalist. So after Bungie pledged to remove the armor from the game, the journalists are now demanding that Bungie answer the bigger question. How did this happen in the first place? Now this is just them trying to find out if there's some poor artist or game dev who added this to the game so that they can hound him out of the pack and tear him apart. They'll try and get him fired, they'll slander him, paint him in a negative light, maybe try and prevent him from ever getting hired by anyone else. This is what these people do when someone goes against the narrative. They try and destroy them utterly. So Bungie's answer to that question is that it wasn't intentional. It seems that Bungie undertook a thorough investigation of how this happened, and they announced in a blog post that the meme originates from World of Warcraft and StarCraft. According to Bungie, they were not trying to make a reference to the Kekistani flavor of the Kek meme, and more to the original Kek meme. And this is exactly what I was talking about before. They make it so that as soon as a meme is used in a way they don't like, they can paint the entire meme in a negative light, and anyone that uses it even in a completely different way is transgressing to their narrative. So whether or not you believe Bungie that this was just an innocent version of the Kek meme, or if it was actually slipped in as a reference to the Kekistani meme, it doesn't really matter because these left-wing journalists absolutely do not believe them. Whether Bungie apologizes or acquiesces to their demands, it doesn't matter. These journalists will hound them until the end of time. And this is what I really wanted to talk about here. It seems like something more sinister is going on. I haven't seen regular gamers and people anywhere getting angry about this piece of armor in the game. It seems to me like these elitist social justice warrior, air quotes, gaming journalists are the ones themselves generating this outrage. They're the ones who notified Bungie about the apparent offensiveness of this piece of armor and the meme it relates to. They're the ones who are creating these articles and going on Twitter and holding this over the heads of Bungie, and then they're the ones who go and celebrate when Bungie surrenders to their demands. It very much seems to me like these journalists are not reporting on an outrage in the gaming community, they're creating an outrage, or at least trying to. And why are they doing this? I mean, we all know that the social justice warriors in the gaming journalism community want to change gaming to make it into something that they like better. But picking at something so small and irrelevant as a logo on a piece of armor that might reflect a meme they don't like, it doesn't seem like something that goes towards their end. It seems to me like they just seem to enjoy having a stick to beat developers over the head with. It's like they're creating outrage just for the fun of being on what they perceive as the right side of the outrage. But even after cutting through the waffle of these journalists trying desperately to tie Kekistan to Nazism, Bungie may not have had to comply in my eyes, but they absolutely did comply. They did it immediately and without question. They're claiming they're doing a thorough investigation about this, and we can see here that they even have to go down to virtue signaling back to these social justice warriors that they're on their side. They say, we want everyone to know that their identity is welcome in our studio and the worlds we create. This isn't merely a platitude, but an official pillar that we hold for ourselves. They say, please believe us, we're totally on your side, we're totally down with all the social justice stuff, we don't want any trouble, please. And of course Bungie has added that they're going to work on figuring out a better system to keep inappropriate imagery out of its games. Well, this is a question I want to ask. Inappropriate as defined by who? The games journalists or the gamers themselves? Which one of those two communities do you think you should be most accountable to, Bungie?